The city was alive with the chaos of a Monday morning. Car horns blared, tires screeched, and pedestrians rushed across busy intersections. Daniel Parker gripped the steering wheel of his sleek black sedan, eyes darting to the digital clock on the dashboard. 8:45 a.m. His heart pounded. He had exactly 15 minutes to make it to the office, a 40-minute drive away. This meeting was his last chance. His boss had made it painfully clear. "One more mistake, Daniel, and you're out, Mr. Thompson had said, his voice cold and final. Daniel had already lost so much: his last promotion, the trust of his colleagues, and most of all, his confidence. This meeting wasn't just another appointment. It was his redemption, the one shot at proving he wasn't a failure. As he sped onto the freeway, he replayed his boss's words in his head. He couldn't be late. Not today. The sun was blinding as Daniel weaved between cars, pushing the speed limit. His fingers clenched the steering wheel, his foot pressing harder on the gas. He had to make it. He had to. Then, he saw him. An old man, frail and exhausted, struggling to push his broken-down car on the shoulder of the highway. His white hair clung to his forehead, his hands shaking as he leaned against the vehicle. Daniel's grip tightened. "Keep driving. You have no choice." His pulse quickened as his car sped past. But then, his grandfather's voice echoed in his mind. "A job can be replaced. A life cannot." Memories flooded back. His grandfather, a kind-hearted man, the kind who would give his last dollar to a stranger in need. The man who had raised him after his parents died in a car crash. The man who had taught him that success wasn't about wealth or promotions but about the kind of person you chose to be. Daniel's throat tightened. He had two choices: ignore the man and save his job, or stop and help, risking everything. He exhaled sharply, then made his decision. The screech of tires filled the air as Daniel slammed on the brakes. His car jerked to a stop a few feet ahead. Without hesitation, he threw open the door and sprinted back to the old man. The man looked up, his wrinkled face filled with exhaustion and disbelief. "Let me help," Daniel said, breathless. The old man blinked, his lips trembling. Are you sure, son? You don't have to. I want to." Together, they pushed. The car was heavy, its weight resisting their every effort, but Daniel dug his feet into the ground, ignoring the sweat trickling down his face. Cars rushed past them, drivers staring, some honking, others shaking their heads as if Daniel was a fool. But he didn't care. After what felt like an eternity, they reached the nearest gas station. The old man collapsed onto a bench, his chest rising and falling heavily. Daniel crouched beside him. "You all right?" The old man wiped his eyes. "I thought I'd be stuck there forever." No one stopped. Not one person. His voice cracked, his gratitude clear. "You're a good man. Thank you." Daniel glanced at his watch. 9:15 a.m. His chest tightened. It was over. He had missed the meeting. His job was gone. But as he looked at the old man, still shaking from exhaustion but smiling through his tears, a strange sense of peace settled over him. He had done the right thing. That was all that mattered. Daniel walked into the office expecting the worst. The moment he stepped in, all eyes turned to him. His colleagues whispered among themselves, their expressions unreadable. His assistant, Claire, rushed over, her face pale. "Daniel, Mr. Thompson wants to see you. Now." Daniel swallowed hard and made his way to the corner office. His boss sat behind his desk, his fingers laced together. Expression unreadable. "You're late, Mr. Thompson said, his tone void of emotion. Daniel nodded. "I know. I don't want excuses." Silence stretched between them. Then, to Daniel's shock, Mr. Thompson's face softened. "I heard what you did," he said quietly. Daniel frowned. "What?" "The man you helped this morning." Daniel's heart pounded. How did he know? Mr. Thompson leaned back in his chair. "He's my father." Daniel's breath caught. "I got a call from him an hour ago," Mr. Thompson continued. "He told me about the young man who stopped to help when no one else would. He was in tears, Daniel. Said you saved him." Daniel's mouth went dry. "I expected you to mess up again, Mr. Thompson admitted. "But instead, you proved to me that you're the kind of man I want in this company." A slow smile spread across his face. "You're not fired. In fact, I'm promoting you." Daniel's mind reeled. "But I was late." "You were late to a meeting, Mr. Thompson said, "but you showed up for something more important." That night, as Daniel drove home, he reflected on the events of the day. He had risked his career for a stranger. And yet, That one act of kindness had changed his life in ways he never could have imagined. He rolled down his window, letting the cool night air fill the car. Success wasn't about money or status. It wasn't about how many meetings you made on time or how many promotions you received. It was about the lives you touched, the people you helped, the moments that defined the kind of person you were. And Daniel knew, if he had to make the choice again, he wouldn't hesitate. He would always stop.